can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, I'm going to be talking about Black Panther number 12 by John Ridley and Jermaine Peralta. This issue of Black Panther proves beyond all reasonable doubt that if you ever were of the belief that Black Panther is not making a lot of the same mistakes that Batman has been making for years over in DC Comics, this issue is going to divorce you of that mentality forever. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of comparing characters like Black Panther and Batman, but the truth of the matter is these characters are a lot more alike than many people want to admit. Even I, a lot of the times, don't like comparing the two characters, at least not in terms of, ability or, their responsibilities. The only area I really compare them is how paranoid both characters tend to be. To me, that is their most compelling comparison. The one thing that actually makes them almost too much alike. Yes, they're both insanely rich, albeit Black Panther is far more rich than Bruce Wayne could ever hope to be. Not to mention, Black Panther has far more responsibility than Bruce Wayne could ever hope to have, and that's even with him having less responsibility than he normally would now. Since he's no longer technically king of Wakanda, he is still a monarch and figure of prominence in Wakanda that is more than Bruce Wayne could ever say. But their levels of paranoia and distrust, you would almost mistake them for twins. And I say that because we learn in this issue the truth of how T'Challa's best friend Jai, who was working within the confines of T'Challa's Project Kill Switch, this clandestine secretive operation that T'Challa had put in place to take down and in a lot of cases kill world leaders should they ever have become a threat to Wakanda or the rest of the world for that matter. T'Challa had put this in place, and it was largely due to paranoia. We know how paranoid T'Challa can get, as I've talked about in a previous video, that in one of T'Challa and Prince Namor's earliest encounters, T'Challa decided to keep a file on the Submariner just in case he ever got out of line. A file that broke down all of his strengths, weaknesses, and ways he could be neutralized. T'Challa has actually done this for every member of the Avengers, past, present, and potentially even future. And Jai used this against T'Challa, knowing that T'Challa would never actually have the balls to go all in on Project Kill Switch the way that he had hoped T'Challa would, and being T'Challa's best friend, Jai wanted T'Challa to have it all. He wanted him to be king, not just of Wakanda, he wanted him to be king of the world. And now that T'Challa is technically the monarch of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, Jai saw an opportunity to make T'Challa ruler of the entire universe. For those who don't know anything about the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, I'll try to remember to link a video somewhere up here in the top. You can go check that out, or I'll put it at the end of the video and you can go find out all about that. But the point of the matter is Jai saw an opportunity. So Jai faked his own death, much as we had speculated when it was revealed Jai was in fact still alive. The body that both Oma Lola and T'Challa had been grieving over was not actually Jai, but somebody else. And those agents that we saw that knew Wakanda so intimately, turns out they weren't Hatut Zarazi just in another uniform, and Akili was actually not the one who betrayed T'Challa in the first place. Akili was just simply protecting his country. He wasn't the one who actually sent those agents after Jai, or any of the other sleeper agents for that matter. All of those people we saw, those unnamed assailants that lived to die, they all worked for Jai. They were all Wakandan agents, and it's even implied some of them aren't even people who are from Wakanda, but just are Quotey Fingers allies who believe in the cause. How far or how deep that goes so far remains to be seen, but each of these people are willing to lay down their lives in order to promote T'Challa to being the king of the world and eventually the universe. And while Jai's efforts to try and prop T'Challa up as the king of the universe is all well and good. T'Challa doesn't want it, and this has spurned Jai to the point where now he's just willing to kill T'Challa. If T'Challa won't appreciate what it is he's trying to give him, then maybe he'll just keep it for himself. Everything that Jai has accomplished by shutting down the entire world's internet infrastructure and imposing peace under threat of violence, all of this is a part of T'Challa's plan. Now you're sitting here asking yourself, well, how is this Batman's biggest mistake? Well, one of the things that Batman has been responsible as of late that many people point to when they think about some of the mistakes that Batman has made throughout the years, one of them is the Tower of Babel. Some of you may or may not be familiar with the 2000s story arc by Mark Waid called the Tower of Babel. This was a story arc where Batman had created files on each member of the Justice League, detailing their strengths, their weaknesses, and how to neutralize them, not unlike what T'Challa has been up to as of late. While Batman never used these files on any of the members of the Justice League, Ra's al Ghul actually did. Ra's al Ghul stole these files from Batman and used them against the League and almost effectively took over the entire world. He shut down not just Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter, but also Flash, Aquaman, Green Lantern, even Superman. He literally had them at his mercy, turning Martian Manhunter's weakness of fire against him by setting him on fire to the point that even if he tried to put it out using water, it just made the fire continuously burn. He took out Flash by inflicting him with light speed epilepsy and made it to where Aquaman became phobic of the water that he needed to survive, to the point where he was drying out. And of course, in the case of Wonder Woman, he made it to where Wonder Woman was inflicted with a heart attack that she would fight and fight and fight until she could no longer keep going. And then of course there was the introduction of a new form of kryptonite that essentially turns Superman inside out. And if you're thinking, well, okay, big deal. Another thing we can talk about is Batman's even more recent instance of being too paranoid is that he created an alternate personality for himself called the Batman of Xernar, a Batman that was completely hidden from himself, who created an all-powerful android capable of not just taking down Batman with extreme prejudice, but was also capable of taking down the entire Justice League and pretty much every hero in existence. And now it's gotten to the point that all these secrets have been laid bare before T'Challa, not just from Jai, but also now the Avengers know the truth about what T'Challa was up to. They know about Project Killswitch. They now know about the fact that he had files on them, and that's why Jai and his soldiers were so easily able to dispatch each Avenger who tried to attack them. This puts T'Challa in an actionable position because now he no longer has the support of the Avengers, and for all intents and purposes, they don't even really seem to want him around anymore. Even Captain America, who is normally good buds with him. But as of late, T'Challa and Steve have been at odds with one another because T'Challa has been distracted. Not only has he been distracted, but he's been keeping secrets. And these secrets have finally come back to bite him. So now T'Challa has to put together an entirely new team, his own quotey fingers Avengers, to try and take down Jai, who has files on every superhero just about that T'Challa would ever fear or ever work with. None of the superheroes that T'Challa has worked with in the past are going to be able to help him. Jai would immediately know how to shut him down. He couldn't ask Moon Knight, he couldn't ask Vibraxis, he couldn't ask Monica Rambeau, nor could he ask Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. He can't ask any of the usual suspects. So now he has to reach out and speak with people who T'Challa has either A, has little to no relationship with, or B, don't really like him at all. Case in point, characters like the recently introduced Tosin Oduye, who goes by the name the Wakandan, a guy who does not like T'Challa in the slightest. He hates T'Challa with every fiber of his being, but T'Challa needs him because Tosin has an ability that T'Challa could use against Jai. Tosin has an innate ability to manipulate vibranium, not to mention he can channel the power of vibranium through his body without the need of a vibranium suit. A lot of the things that we've seen T'Challa do with his vibranium armor in the past, Tosin can do it on his own. He doesn't need any special heart-shaped herb, he doesn't need any special costume. He can just do it. And the only reason that Tosin is willing to help T'Challa in this is not necessarily because he knows T'Challa needs his help, but because he knows that the world is at stake in this. And while he typically only really cares about Wakanda first, the truth of the matter is that if Jai does win, everyone is going to blame Wakanda, which means that Wakanda will become the subject of yet another war. And Tosin knows that while he's powerful, he's not powerful enough to take on the entire world. He's also having to reach out to the mutant Gentle, who has been ostracized by his fellow mutants on Arakko and Krakoa to the point that he's now living in exile. And while technically even Gentle has to admit that Storm technically would probably have forgiven him, he hasn't forgiven himself for having lied to her. For those that are wondering why this is such a big deal, it's largely because Storm is one of the few people in Wakanda who actually was willing to give Gentle a chance, who didn't look down on Gentle because of his heritage. And for those who don't know, Gentle is not 100% Wakandan. His mother was Wakandan, but his father was Russian. Not only that, he was a mutant. And while Wakanda is a fairly progressive place with how it deals with people of African ancestry, it's not very progressive in terms of how they deal with mutants. So Gentle initially did not want to help T'Challa. He's only doing it because the world is literally going to fall if no one stops Jai. We also see the return of character Oma Lola. Oma Lola and Jai were intimately close to one another, being secret lovers during a time when neither one of them was supposed to know the other. And while she said she hoped to never see T'Challa again, T'Challa knows that everything that Jai put her through, having faked his own death and tried to make her believe he was truly in fact dead when he was actually still alive, putting her through that level of grief, she now wants to kill Jai more than anything else. She even says herself that she promised she would kill the person who killed Jai. And considering that Jai had killed himself, technically, faking his own death, she now wants to kill him. But now I'm curious as to what her allegiances are going to be, because technically she is a spy, and spies usually have double agent tendencies. But at the same time, the way Oma Lola is looking at this is she feels as though she's been lied to, that Jai's love was not actually real, that it was just a cover for what it was he was trying to do. Whether that is true or not is another story altogether. And considering how Oma Lola was so critical of how Shuri believed that the reason Oma Lola would have tried to kill T'Challa is because she was so in love with Jai and that she just couldn't let her woman feelings get out of the way of that, I'm gonna go on and say maybe it is likely she actually does believe what she's saying, that she does in fact want to kill Jai for manipulating her. At least that's what I hope. I hope it's not gonna go that route where she's like, oh, but I have feelings for you. I hope they don't go that route, because it would be very reminiscent of what they did with the character of Malice, who a lot of people who are familiar with the MCU know this character as Nakia. But in the comics, Malice was love drunk over T'Challa and became a villain because she was the victim of T'Challa's unrequited love. And of course, we see the return of the Buffalo Soldier, who initially I thought might have been dead, but in fact he did survive and has been living out his days in Wyoming, hanging out with the colonialist quotey fingers emancipated exes, the same women slaves who we saw in the previous couple of issues, who were very adamant about not being slaves to the colonialist. And you would think they would just want to live quiet lives, but no, they actually want to help stop Jai because, well, it's their world now too. And that's how the Buffalo Soldier feels. This is his world now. He has to protect it. And while he made a mistake of working with colonialists in the past, having fallen for his lies about another alien race that his people were sharing their original planet with, he doesn't want to fall into that mistake again, and is willing to help T'Challa save this world so that he can make it his home and treat it better than he did the previous one. And of course, T'Challa is also going to be flanked by Imani, the acting prime minister in Prime Minister Folasade's absence. Though this is largely so Imani can keep an eye on T'Challa and make sure he doesn't muck this whole thing up, because if Jai succeeds, Wakanda is going to be blamed, same as how I said when talking about with Tosin. So that's why she is making sure she is available to make sure this goes off without a hitch. And of course, Shuri is going going to be there as well because, well, that's T'Challa's ride or die. She's always going to support T'Challa even when she thinks he's being an idiot. As a matter of fact, Shuri has been the most consistent thing in T'Challa's life as of late because she has called him out openly for pretty much every dumb mistake he has made since the start of this run. She has called him out for his distrust, his paranoia, and how he just doesn't seem to be thinking on the level that he should be. He's letting himself wallow in his own grief over Jai. He's letting himself wallow in his grief over what happened with Achille instead of trying to fix the problem. And now it seems like with T'Challa having this new support system behind him, even though a lot of the rest of these characters don't care for him, it seems like that's when T'Challa is able to get the most stuff done, is when he's working with people who don't necessarily really like him. This is how he was able to take down Achille and the Hattusarazi when they took over military control of Wakanda. So maybe lightning can strike twice for him once again in regards to taking down his former best friend, Jai. But anyways, that's everything I want to talk about with Black Panther number 12. If you haven't done so already, we're getting real close to hitting 75,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so that way you don't miss anything. And also, on your way out, make sure to Hulk smash that like button and hit the share button so we can expand Earth's mightiest subscribers beyond Plus Ultra. In the meantime, let me know what you thought about Black Panther number 12. Keep it Plus Ultra and sound off in the comments.